Well, there it is, Witty here. Welcome to Warcraft Reforged Tales from the Smithy. So these are some articles that Blizzard have created. They're on the news page of their blizzard.com website. If you want to check them out for yourself, they'll be in the description. Just going to basically read through them, and it's essentially, from what I can take, a bit of a behind the scenes, or at least the thought process as to how they came about creating the models and creating Warcraft Reforged. So we're going to be taking a look at the Night Elves. Let's read through this. An avalanche of work goes into reforging even a single Warcraft 3 model. First concept artists scour real-world history, World of Warcraft visuals, and original Warcraft 3 concept art for inspiration. Fueled by this research, they create several concepts for review by the entire art team. The art team chooses their favourite parts from each concept: the pose from A, the eyebrows from B, the shoulder spikes from C, the toe structures from D. When the finer spear points had been agreed upon, a 3D model is constructed. The art team reviews each model from every angle, evaluating scale, color, readability, and silhouette. Each model goes through several rounds of exacting polish, then is on to the animation phase, where the movement of fabrics and body parts is polished for realism and personality. Every new model goes through the full process, whether it's Prince Arthas or a humble cactus. And there are a lot of new models, over 700 in fact. After that work paid off, in Warcraft 3 Reforged, orcs, humans, night elves, and the undead have been brought to life in higher fidelity than ever before. Across this article series, we go behind the scenes with the art team to discover the secrets of each Reforged race, beginning with the ancient, reclusive night elves. So, Night Elves were actually the last race to actually get finished art-wise, at least as far as we understood it. They were the last race to be announced, if you remember correctly. The models, the pictures on the website. So it looks like they are trying to get a grander scheme as to what Warcraft should be, rather than this being a proper take on Warcraft 3. I've always felt, personally, that it should just basically be as closely related and linked to Warcraft 3 as possible, but they did make it kind of clear, you know, several years ago, a couple of years ago, that they want to go with a more realistic approach for the Warcraft series. So that's what they're essentially indicating here, is it's like, you know, different sources of Warcraft visuals that they're going to be taking from, rather than just, this is how it looks in Warcraft 3. Let's make it look like this, but higher fidelity. So personally, I prefer that, but let's go forth and see. The Night Elves were the first race to study magic and let it loose throughout the world. Nearly 10,000 years ago, they barely managed to banish the demons of the Burning Legion from the world, but their wondrous homeland was shattered, and the Night Elves went into hiding from the rest of the world atop their holy mountain, Hyjul. While redesigning the Night Elf units, the artists really captured the essence of the Night Elves, that nature is a constant in their theme and function. Wisps bend branches, branch and root into ancients, and many Night Elf units like the Dryad literally bridge the divide between forest, fauna, and elf. So here we have our heroes, starting off with Illidan. Illidan, Demon Hunter. Demon Hunters are dark, shadowy warriors who are shunned by the greater Night Elf society. They wield demonically charged warblades in battle, call upon fell energies to augment their formidable combat skills, and now have a chance to appear in either male or female variations during multiple multiplayer matches. Illidan Stormrage's classic fell tattoos are more elaborate channels for demonic power, and his models have been retooled with all the musculature he'll need to support future wings and horns. So he's looking a bit beefier. I think this is actually one of the models that look really, really amazing. Like, I love the original models. I'm never going to have a problem with them. But, wow, he does look pretty damn good here. Like, that is pretty much Illidan in a nutshell. So you can't really fault that one at all. Moving on to Cinereous, Keeper of the Grove. The Enchanted Keepers are the favoured sons of the demigod Cinereous, and possess strange powers over nature and animals. These ranged spellcasters complement the ranged Night Elf army, rooting any enemy that gets near or using treants to push attackers back. The wood of the Reforged Keeper's clawed hand is much more defined and noticeable. You will have a chance to summon either this multiplayer model or the mighty Cinereous himself in competitive games. Cinereous is draped in ivy, as with his original model, but the competitive Play Keeper has his own look with a number of variable outfits. He's a few millennia short of 10,000, so his antlers and ivy haven't fully grown in yet. So you can see the model here. Looking much brighter and more defined than that kind of darkish grey dull colour that they've had with models in the past. So I think they're trying to bring them out to be more vibrant. Tarunda, Whisperwind, Priestess of the Moon. The Priestesses of the Moon epitomize the power and grace of their race's ancient moon goddess, Elune. The Priestesses ride the fearless frost saber tigers of Winterspring into battle armed with magical energy and improve the damage of ranged units. In reforging Tarunda's model, we opted to give Ashalar armor to set her apart from the average saber cat. She is the High Priestess's right paw, after all. Okay, but there's no model here to show this off for some reason. Yeah, I have an issue with a lot of the mounts bearing too much armor. Whilst they're trying to give them, I guess, their own personality, I feel that sometimes the mounts outshine the actual heroes themselves with these slightly over-the-top armor sets that they carry. Maiev Shadowsong, Warden. The mysterious Wardens serve as the Night Elves police force in Kalimdor, employing a number of supernatural powers that enable them to recapture their target and mete out justice. Or is it met out? I think it might be met out, how that's pronounced. It's not a word I use very often. Maev's Reforged model is quite distinct from her multiplayer sister, who wields a chakram but lacks her distinctive bladed cape and crescent backpiece. So this looks pretty damn good. I mean, the Warden was always an incredible model. Just the actual design of it and how cool it is. Just the silhouette of it by itself. It's just it stands out, doesn't it? Very incredibly. So she's got more of this kind of crescent rather than these wings, these angelic wings, even though she's actually kind of a dark character in a lot of ways. I think I prefer the wings, but that's, of course, because I'm used to them, so this is still a very good look. So they're really trying to mix it up, and she's looking not too bad. Units, Archer. The first rank of the Sentinel Army, is comprised of archers who are able to shadow meld at night and attack from stealth. Archers are staples of the Night Elf army. They can cause serious damage with a Priestess of the Moon and become even more effective as Hippogriff archers later in the game. Whether looking at concept art from Warcraft 2, looking at bows in World of Warcraft, or the improved bows upgrade, which we ultimately drew inspiration from, we do a healthy bit of research before creating each unit. The bows of archers in Warcraft 3 Reforged have a more traditional pointed recurve where the string attaches. So they're really going into quite a lot of detail here. I think the archer model looks pretty good, but it also had issues with too much hunching over and such. You can see the original Warcraft 3 archer does technically hunch over a little bit. In this version, the picture that we've got here, she's not hunching over anywhere as much as she currently does in the game, or at least from what I've seen previously in Reforged. So time will tell. The Dryad. The enchanted Dryads are the daughters of the Night Elf demigod Cinereous. Though they abhor unnecessary violence, the Dryads will defend the wildlands of Kalimdor with their lives if need be. Dryads are excellent at chasing fleeing units and debilitating enemies with their slow poison. While the original Dryad model looks like she was dragging around the top of a tree because of the quantity of leaves in her spear, the Reforged Dryad reduces the focus of the spear, lets you take in the entire unit's details, and let her colours have been changed to match more closely with a fawn. The character of Lenara from Heroes of the Storm was definitely an inspiration here. Her fawn colouring felt more alive, in contrast with the dominant greyish purple colouring of the original, which was almost undead in nature and at odds with the vivacious, fearsome forest fawn. They do have a good point there. The original model is actually quite grim and shadowy, so that was helped to be counterbalanced by the over-the-top looks of the spear, which they point out has got lots of leaves on it. The new model is more of a blend. You don't really notice the spear as much, that's true. Their hair is like really kind of janky though. I think it's just a case of getting used to that, but it almost looks like a brain or something that's going on in that. But it's the leaves that are amongst the hair, but I'm not sure if they blend in quite so right as they're looking to like she's got something wrong with her. But otherwise, yeah, the overall color scheme of the Dryad definitely looks very good. Druid of the Claw. These ancient druids have adopted the totem of the bear and use its powers to defend their society from any external threats. Their magical spells augment their allies' fighting skills and bravery as well. The Druid of the Claw acts as a powerful advanced melee unit when he assumes bear form. The druid has always worn furs and other here we go, accoutrements of the bear he transforms into. But the redesigned unit much more clearly distinguishes the outfit from the druid, and his face is more that of a stoic night elf and less like a bear mid-transformation. But what about those claws? Are they gloves as part of the druid? Lead producer Pete Stilwell suggests that insight can be found in the single-player campaign. Having gone a bit native, the druids attempted to grow their nails a bit more aggressively than your average elf, but disappointed in the result, they just strapped some giant claws on anyway. I think it still works. I can go with that. Yeah, you can see the claws that they get from the bear that they're wearing on their arm is definitely more extended than their natural claws from the Reforged model. I like these. I think they are a little hunched over, but I think that's also the look they were going for. For me personally, I kind of prefer them to stand up straighter a little bit more. They do look very powerful, but if they just stood up a bit straighter, I think I would prefer that. But that's a personal preference. Mountain Giant. Benevolent and solitary by nature, the mountain giants have awakened to find that the tranquil world they have once helped to shape has become a hectic battlefield of fire and sorrow. These massive melee units can take incredible amounts of punishment from attackers. The improved Mountain Giant has better defined crystals on the shoulders, and the grass placements make it look less like a tunic and more like a actual mossy rock. It kind of looks like he's wearing a, what is it, a Hawaiian skirt from the original classic version, doesn't it? Multiple concept art pieces were reviewed, and the best parts of each were combined to recreate, create the version below. So yeah, the new Mountain Giant does look pretty damn incredible. It's got much more of a crystalline vibe. The sharpness of the shapes, the geometry, it's looking a lot more... It looks like a bunch of rocks to a degree have been bound together by ivy and nature. So I guess that is pretty fitting. The head obviously sits a lot lower in the Mountain Giant. Because I'm used to the original head being higher in the classic model, that's kind of how I prefer it, but I feel like so much of this criticism is because I'm used to it looking a certain way, so it almost looks like it's wrong that his head is so low, but that can also work with bigger, bulkier models. If you've ever seen artwork for stronger characters, their head does seem to be a lot lower. Their shoulders, their traps are like ginormous, and like almost... You think about like these over-the-top wrestlers that are like steroided up to beyond the belief, and they've got like shoulders that are bigger than their head practically. We hope you enjoyed this look at the Night Elves. Join us soon for the next installment of this series, where we'll be giving you a closer glimpse at the Reforged Undead. I'll be recording another video in a moment in regards to the Undead, which will come up on the channel in a day or so. So stay tuned for that. So hopefully you enjoyed this. This is essentially a look at the Tales from the Smithy, Reforging Warcraft 3. So thank you guys. If you want to see these articles yourself, check the video description. They are over at the news page. I only came across it when I checked on the Battle.net app. I was just pressing through the buttons, going through the shop and the news, and I was like, oh, look, there's stuff about Warcraft 3. So I thought you guys might have not noticed that yourselves, so I thought I'd create a video essentially just stating what it is that they have created. So thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to go do the Undead one now, so you have a nice day for now. Take care.